And so as I share with you, the Lord gave me 4 thoughts that I just want to talk through with you right now. And at the end of each one of these ideas, if I'm talking to you, I want you to note it. That is, if you go, this one is about me, just put at the bottom, this one is about me. Just note it. And at the end, we're going to take a moment to pray. And I have to believe, because of the wrestling that I've done as I've prepared this word, that somehow God is going to do something supernatural in hearts today, people who are waiting, and be able to do something special for you. Okay, the first one, number 1 in your notes is this: waiting with the fear of man. Or another way I'm going to put this is, and this is a real leader problem right here, a real leader challenge, waiting pressured by the fear of man. That is, you have to wait for something. You're waiting. You really shouldn't be acting, but but men are pressuring you. People around you are pressuring you to take action on something that you do not have the peace to take action about. We remember the story of Saul and Samuel in 1 Samuel 10:8. It says, "And you shall go down before me to Gilgal," Samuel says to Saul, "and behold, I will come down to you to offer burnt offerings and sacrifice peace offerings. You shall wait 7 days until I come to you and show you what you should do." So Saul has this clear command from the Lord. He's supposed to go to Gilgal. He's supposed to wait, and Samuel will come to him and make an offering there. And then we find ourselves here in a little later in the story. Saul has gone out, and he's kind of bloodied the nose of the Philistines. The Philistines are, in this story, they have their classical role of oppression over Israel. And Saul, now the newly anointed king, first thing he does, gets a bunch of guys together, goes out and does a sneak surprise attack against the Philistines, kind of bloodies their nose. But their response is to turn around and to mobilize a massive army to come and discipline Israel for this attack that they've made. And that's where we are in verse 5. It says, "Now the Philistines assembled to fight with Israel, 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and people like the sand which is on the seashore." So they're in abundance, it says. "And they came up and camped in Mishmash, east of Bethaven. When the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait," that means they were hard pressed, things were tough, "then the people hid themselves in caves, in thickets, in cliffs, in cellars, and in pits." Everybody was all excited. Saul goes out, bloodies the nose of the Philistines for the oppression that they've been giving. But now the Philistines have mobilized this massive army, and everybody is going, whoa, and they are hiding out, okay? It's not the exciting, ho-ho, we got a king. It's like they're freaking out. We should never have done that. Why did we ever punch this devil in the nose? We should never have done that. And says, also, some of the Hebrews crossed the Jordan into the land of Gad and Gilead. So what happens is, some of them say, you know what, it's not even safe to be here anymore. So instead of, at first, when Saul is declared king, all kinds of people are coming to join them to him. Now they've decided, we're going someplace else. We're not going to Gilgal. I don't know why he's staying at Gilgal, because he's going to get beat up there. But of course, Saul is trying to do what he was told to do, to stay at Gilgal. He says, "But as for Saul, he was still in Gilgal, and all the people followed him trembling. And now he waited 7 days according to the appointed time set by Samuel. But Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and the people were scattering from him." So you got to catch this picture now. Saul people are saying, "You're in the wrong place. Why you're there? Don't you realize they're coming?" Nobody is coming to join his army anymore. Instead, they're scattering away from his army. And the anxiety inside of Saul every day is just building and building and building. He has this tremendous fear that he's about to be shamed in front of everybody, that everybody is going to see his weakness and his inability, and he's just feeling incredibly insecure, and everything is kind of hanging in his heart on Samuel showing up after 7 days. Finally, the 7th day comes, and he, in his mind, has been building up the idea, okay, I get up that morning, Samuel, I'm going to look up there, he's going to be coming down, everything's going to... Well, that 7th day comes, and Samuel doesn't show up. And the day goes on, and the anxiety is building. And the anxiety is building, and the anxiety is building, and the people are scattering. Everything's going every different direction. And finally, as the day goes on, it gets later and later in the day. Finally, he says, I have to do something. I have to do something. I have to do something. And so he steps out and he does the priestly duties of making this offering. And just like always happens, you know exactly this experience. Just like what always happens, as soon as he does the stupid thing that he does, the head of Samuel pops up. Right? You've been there, right? You jumped the gun. You respond. And God was on his way. Everything was coming. It was even within the time frame. It wasn't like Samuel waited to 8 days or so. It was within the time frame. But the anxiety of leadership was so intense, he could not handle the thing, and he ends up jumping the gun and doing things that he shouldn't do. And of course, Samuel goes on and says to him, as a result of this, you're going to lose the kingdom and all that you've experienced. I want to ask you a question. Are you facing a situation where circumstances and people are pressuring you to act when you have no peace? You have no peace. You're in a situation where you have no peace. You don't have a clear word, but there's this feeling, if I don't do something, I'm going to lose everything. If I don't make something happen, if I don't somehow show I've got what it takes, if I don't do something, I'm gonna lose everything. Possibly God has given you a clear word, but voices are now saying to you, be reasonable and change your plan. The circumstances have changed. You're under tremendous pressure to compromise what God has clearly spoken to you. I believe the Lord would like to minister strength to you today. There's a scripture with each of these illustrations. There's a scripture I'm giving you. In this one, your promise is this: those who hopefully wait for me will not be put to shame. You are not going to be put to shame. I want you to know right now. You don't have to take any action. You don't have to do anything. If you do not have the peace of God in your heart, you hopefully wait for him. You will not be put to shame. God will come through for you. I remember years ago, I was in a situation where I had to let an employee go, basically, because our church had grown and things had happened, and they basically couldn't do the next phase of what needed to be done. And I didn't do this by myself. It was in consultation with elders and others, but finally came. And so when the person was let go, they went out and told other people basically why they were let go, but it was a total distortion of reality. And I had a clear word from the Lord to say nothing. Because what I felt the Lord said to me was this, that if you have to protect yourself by exposing their nakedness, you are doing the wrong thing. You just be quiet and just let it happen. And so here the people were speaking to others and planting these seeds of dissension and saying all these negative things that the elders had done or I had done. And I was not free to speak. I had to wait. People came to me, they said, you should say something. People need to know why this happened. They're thinking this about you, or they're thinking that about the elders, or they're thinking that you should say something about what's going on. And I could not do it, see? And sometimes that's where you find yourself as a leader. You have to obey, even though every pressure around you is pushing you to do something. And some of you are in that situation. The Lord wants to say to you right now, those who hopefully wait for me will not be put to shame. You will not be put to shame, I promise you.